What up, what up, what up? We're back. HBCU Spotlight. Got some special guests today. We got my girls in the background making noise. Cam Dailey, of course. And we got a special guest. We'll let you introduce yourself.
How you guys doing? I'm Brandon Espinosa. I'm the head men's basketball coach at Paul Quinn College in Dallas, Texas. And I'm the director of EYBL at Drive Nation.
Cool. Coach, we're glad to have you on, man. So the first question for you is give us a little background on yourself. Talk about your experiences, coaching EYBL. And now I think this is year 2 for you, right, at Paul Quinn?
It's year 3, but it's year 2 on the court. We didn't play last year because of COVID. So
gotcha. Well, go ahead and tell us a little bit about your experience.
So I've been coaching junior college, EYBL. I had the blessing of coaching in the G League for a couple of years. I did high school for a year, but just wasn't a high enough level for me. I think it's just been the city of Dallas has taken care of me, right? I'm a Houston kid. I played small college basketball at a Christian college here in the city. I think for me, coaching was never going to be what I wanted to do. Never thought about being a coach, never wanted to be a coach. And my mentor in college, who was my head coach, he convinced me to stay on. I needed a couple more credits to graduate. And he said, you're already a coach. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, you're an extension of us on the court. You play hard, you hold guys accountable. He said, you know the plays, you have relationships. He said that's exactly what coaching is. And so, I kind of took a step back and I was like, well, you know what? I need to graduate. I need to get this done. So, I'll stick around. And credit to Coach Charles Williams. He played at Oklahoma State for kind of putting that bug in my ear and really changing the trajectory of my life, right? And since then, man, the city of Dallas has really taken care of me. I've done EYBL with Jeff Webster at Pro Skills. I'm now with Jermaine over at Drive, which those are the best players in the country, right? The EYBL players, that level is the absolute highest level of high school basketball. It's not a question, right? It's a fact.
Yeah. You
can look at the stats. You can look at the draft boards. It's a fact. And then really, to be honest, my time with the Legends, right? My head coach when I was with the Legends is Eduardo Nájera. It was a God thing that happened. I'm a man of faith. I don't believe that anything happens on accident, right? Just in the gym one day, saw him rebounding with his wife. I'll tell you the quick story. His wife was rebounding for him. I was in there training at a church in Plano. And I just said, hey, man, you need somebody to rebound for you. Hey, you need somebody to work you out. And it turned into me working him out in the off season. He was still playing in the league. And then, I never charged him. I never charged him a dime. This dude's waking me up at 5 a.m, not showing up until 6 or 7. I mean, you're a trainer, so
Yep.
And I never charged him a dime. I just said, hey, when it comes time for me to apply for a job, I just want you to be a reference on my resume. And this dude says, hey, man, you're smarter than you look. And I said, okay. And then he took the job with the Legends. And I got a chance to work with guys like Charlie Parker, a longtime Mavs assistant,
Yep.
Sagana Diop, who's now an assistant with the Houston Rockets,
Yep.
Jami, who was with the Orlando Magic when they played the Lakers in the finals, Bill Peterson, who's an ops guy at Baylor. I mean, Nick Van Exel, who's a basketball savant. He's with the Hawks now. That's like getting a master's in basketball. And so was I necessarily ready for that opportunity at the time? Absolutely not. But I showed up early. I drove the vans to pick up the players. I took them to the doctors. I did player development. I rebounded. Was I necessarily ready for X's and O's and philosophies and all that? Absolutely not. I'll be the first one to tell you that. But to be a sponge and to soak up that opportunity for 2 years really kind of helped me develop who I was going to be as a coach and kind of the things that I really wanted to work on. And I just sat back, watched, and learned. And it's all kind of led up to this opportunity at Paul Quinn. I'll be honest, I had mentors and people tell me, hey, man, don't take that job. You can go here, you can go there. But when I met with President Sorrell, we call him Prez, But when I met with him, when I went in for the interview, and they sat down and they told me what they were trying to do at this place, I mean, I was just blown away. It's a small college in Dallas, right? South Dallas. But for us, the vision that was presented to me about doing something global, doing something nationwide, showing people that, you know, it's not just sexy in a certain time to be at an HBCU. It's a staple. It's a staple in our country. You know, it's a place where you can be you. It's a place where you're valued, not just for being a basketball player, but for being a human being, being a student. You know, it's just a really special place. It's a really special opportunity. And I think we've got the chance now to be great on and off the basketball court. And so it's really exciting.
Got it. So my next question to you is, how is it for you coaching at a HBCU? Not only as far as, you know, everything that goes on day-to-day basis, but also for you, you know, trying to recruit in that Texas area, especially at an NAIA school and a HBCU.
Yeah, I mean, I think, first of all, it's a blessing, right? It's an honor because we have the opportunity to go out and help young people achieve, you know, their goals. Obviously, recruiting is a big deal for us. We've gone out and we've recruited some really big-time players for our level, right? We've got some Division I transfers, some JUCO transfers, some D2 kids. You know, that's what this is all about. I mean, we can talk about, you know, how they're special in the classroom. We can talk about how they're great people in the community, right? But we've got to have players that can come out here and win games. Mm-hmm. And we do that by making sure that we utilize the relationships that we have. You know, I think at our level, the NAIA Division I level, every single person thinks that their kid can play at our level. And that's just not true. It's not true. You'll see guys that are top 100 kids in the country and they're not tough. And those kids can't play here. And that's facts. I mean, I coach top 100 kids in the country every summer. And so for us, it's about identifying the right level of talent. It's about building those relationships. We don't just recruit kids, we recruit families. We make sure that we know everything about the kid. We're going to make sure that they're great in the community. Like I said, they're good students. They've got to be tough. They've got to be kids that are willing to do the work. We don't want the kids who are on social media posting videos and working out, you know, for the camera. But then when it comes to a closed door practice, you know, you're not here every day. We want guys that are present every day. We want everyday guys. And so we've been lucky. We've been blessed, right? We do the work. We've got some really good players and guys that we think can really help us win some big games. I mean, we've got in our conference, we're in the Red River Athletic Conference. We've got 3 to 4 teams that are ranked top 25 in the country every year. And so we've got guys that make the Final Four. We got guys that make the Sweet 16, the Elite Eight. We got top tier competition. But then the other thing that we do is we schedule Division I's every year. You know, we're going to play 4 to 6 Division I's every year. I don't know how many NAIA schools do this because I don't follow NAIA colleges. You know, we're trying to be like a Division I level program, but we'll play on ESPN Plus four times this year. We'll play on the SEC network. We play Missouri this year. So I don't know how many other NAIA schools are doing that, but I know we're doing that because we want to give our guys the opportunity to play against the best players in the country on the highest platform, right? Like ESPN, like SEC network. And that's to get us in preparation for our season. I mean, we don't have a choice. And so I think it's just really important for us to make sure that we're giving our guys the hardest version of the test. That's holding them accountable off the court. That's making sure they're taking care of business in the classroom. We do player development. We do strength and conditioning. We do events, you know, just like any other place. We want to be the face of our college. And so we do events in the community. We have a partnership with JP Morgan Chase. Our school does. We do corporate internships. You know, I don't know if you guys know this about us, but we're the first urban work college in the country. So we've got a lot of special things going on. It's a huge responsibility, and the players that we recruit have to know that that's what they're doing when they come here. You know, our you know, the way that we do things in higher ed here is it's reality-based education, right? So you're doing projects. There's not a job in the world, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you work for a big-time Fortune 500 company, where you don't work with people. You know, it's project-based. It's critical thinking. It's problem solving, and so we do that in our program as well. I mean, you got to be able to figure it out. And we're not going to call a timeout every single time a guy makes a mistake, right? We don't have enough timeouts to do that. So it's just for us. It's about identifying the right level of talent, you know, the right type of character, and then someone who we think we can develop, right? And then bringing them in and getting to work. So it's really a special time for us in our college right now.
Have you talked about going viral yet? I'm jumping in. Are we talked about that yet?
No.
Can we talk about that yet? I knew you hadn't. I had to lead into it that way. So, talk about the vision behind the court and the remake. Talk about the history behind it, and obviously shout out to the gentleman that made it. I'll let you kind of lead the way on that as well.
Yeah, I mean, the court is special. You know, we do things here at Paul Quinn with a purpose, right? I've never seen a court like it. It's the first of its kind. You look and to the naked eye, it's downtown. You know, we don't know what downtown it is, but I see there's buildings and so, you know, it looks cool, right? But when you look at the message behind it, right, it's 1920s Jim Crow era Dallas, Texas, right? A time when people of color were not allowed in downtown Dallas, right? Weren't welcome. And so for us to use that as our court, it means something, right? You know, Paul Quinn is a historically Black college and university. And so, you know, what's behind that is we're educating African Americans in a time when segregation was, you know, something that was just a part of what our country was going through. It was the DNA of our country at the time. And so a place like Paul Quinn is built on the shoulders of giants who are making these steps for their people because they're trying to make a better life, right? And so you transition that to 2021 when it's quote unquote sexy to be at an HBCU and to support an HBCU. It hasn't always been like that, and it may not always be like that. But for us to have a court like this for our guys and for our community, right? I think it's important. You know, kids should play middle school, high school playoff games, biddy ball. Buff had an event in it last night. People should grow up on our campus, in our facility, that live in this area. It should be very normal for you to be at the college, at Paul Quinn College. You know, and I think that's what we're working towards, right? It's been a long time coming. You know, we had to fundraise. There's not a lot of colleges that came out of the pandemic better than they were before the pandemic. We were one of those colleges. I think it's a special time for us, not only because we have a brand new facility, the first new buildings on campus in 40 to 50 years, right? But for the first time in a long time, man, Paul Quinn College feels like the home team. It feels like the home team. We're getting all kinds of support on social media. We're getting support from platforms like ESPN. They ran a story on us. We're getting alumni reinvigorated because now they can come on campus and they can be a part of this new movement that we're having, right? It's just a special time. Our president has worked really, really hard to make this place about more than just, you know, a physical building, right? More than just the history and the tradition. It's about what we're doing now. This is our time in history now. You know, we can't just live off what somebody else has done. It's about the mark that we're going to make. And I think it's important. And I think it's important for our guys to know that. You know, we got the questions too from our own guys, like, what is it about? Well, you know, I didn't know that, or what are they talking about? You know, shout out to Ryan Parker, AKA Freaky 3 Creative, right? He did a great job of really listening and doing his research and figuring out what we were trying to do and who we are and who we're trying to be, right? And I think he just hit a home run on the design. I think Prez's vision for it was spectacular, and to see it all come together last night and to have one of our Drive Nation guys playing on it, I mean, it's just a special moment. It's not something that everybody gets to do. Not everybody gets to open up a new facility. Today is actually our first home game. So it's just exciting. Everything we do here is with a purpose. And I'm just so proud to be a part of it, man. It's really, really exciting, and it's humbling, to be honest.
Yeah, I was going to say, talk a little bit about it. So much that you said there. I'll let you go ahead and go first, Cam. I was going to ask about the president next, but go ahead and go first, Cam. Please.
Oh, nah, I'm like in awe because I saw the gym, I saw the floor, on Twitter, everybody's talking about it.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's quote unquote sexy and everybody wants it. But like some of the stuff I looked at on there is like, man, you're telling a story, and then you got the we in the paint, which is the paint is big, and you got the me at the free throw line, which you're telling a story, man. And you said something very powerful to me was like the community's coming in there and they're playing on the court, but they're also seeing the HBCU, which a lot of HBCUs are in the poor parts of cities and towns, but they're not seeing, or they don't know about what's going on inside that school because they're not letting the community inside to see what's going on. So major respect to you, the president, like you talked about, just Paul Quinn, period. But let me ask you before Burton takes over. How hard is it for you to recruit kids to come to Paul Quinn and NAIA HBCU?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's hard. I think it's the reality of being an NAIA Division I, right? I think that we're trying to identify that are good enough to help us win games here. We're not necessarily going to get them the first time out, right? I'm not going to get them right out of high school. I may not get them after their first year of junior college, right? But we recruit them. We build relationships. They know that we care. They know that we're doing something special here. And so if something happens at the place that they do decide to go to, we're right there waiting on them. You're talking about Division I level players. I mean, we got two kids that I coached at Nike Pro Skills, two guys that played on the EYBL level, the Reedus twins, who were over at Texas Southern. They went there for a couple of years. It didn't really work out for them. And so who did they call? They called me. Hey, coach, we're ready. Never lost touch, never stopped recruiting them. There's a genuine relationship there. So it's not just about, hey, are you going to come play for me? Checking up on you. How you doing? How's the fam? And now they're here with us, right? Those are two guys that we, to other people, we shouldn't have been able to get.
And never would have got out of high school, right?
And would have never got them out of high school because they had 10, 15 offers or whatever. And so they decided to go somewhere together because they're really close. And so that's fine. You can come here together.
Right.
But that's what it's about. I mean, I think you look at the Division II model, the Division II guys are recruiting Division I guys. They're not recruiting Division II guys. You look at mid-majors, they're not recruiting mid-major guys. They're recruiting high-major guys. We're doing the exact same thing here. But the difference for us is we've got to be a year ahead because we're going to get the guy that we were recruiting 2 years ago. And we do mix in high school kids. We do mix in post-grad kids and that kind of thing. But, with this year being a little bit different, everybody got another year. We've got a couple super seniors who are going to play major minutes. And so for us, it's really about those relationships. You look at my roster, I've got a lot of kids from Houston. I've got a lot of relationships with Houston. I think very similar to like what TCU has done with Mike Miles. We've got to prove ourselves right with a Dallas kid. Right. We've got to recruit a Dallas kid that people know. There's name recognition. He's got to choose us, right? And then we've got to prove ourselves right.
Right.
Unfortunately, it hasn't happened yet. Not because we don't want it to happen. It just hasn't happened yet. It will happen because we're working. But it's about relationships. It always will be, and that's going to be the DNA of our team and the character of our team. It's going to be how hard we work in recruiting and who we can get. but it's not about who we can't get. It's about the relationships that we have and really the reality of getting them on the bounce back.
Right. Yeah. That Mike Miles comparison is a good one because TCU hadn't always had a Mike Miles either, and they had been working to get that Dallas face. They had RJ, they had some guys along the way, but the point with Mike Miles is he's from Lancaster. He chose TCU, and now he's made it where guys want to be there that are from Dallas. Because sometimes when you're there, it's too familiar, and you almost take it for granted. So recruiting a Houston kid, it's like, oh, I'm going to Dallas. Let's do that. Sometimes a Dallas kid to stay home, it's a little different. Now, once you get that first one, then it starts happening. So I'm excited for you on that. Talk about President Sorrell real quick. I mean, he is the mastermind behind this whole thing. Talk about him if you don't mind, real quick.
I don't know if there's very many people that have a relationship with the president of their college the way I do. He's real. Oh, 1 second. Sorry about that. The lights cut out. Motion sensor in here. I apologize.
No, you're good.
He's a really special human being. To see what he's done with the college. I mean, he's told me the stories. There were times where they didn't think they were going to make payroll. There were times when school had to start late because enrollment was down. He had to come in with a vision and then be able to execute that vision. And a lot of times, like, one of the things that we have in common is sometimes when you have something in your head, other people don't necessarily understand or agree with or can comprehend the magnitude at which you see this thing going, right? And so for him to be able to execute all these things that he's done, the college is the first urban work college in the country. You see our brand, the We Over Me brand, where the needs of the community supersede the wants of the individual, right? The reality-based learning that he's done at the college, us having corporate partnerships with JP Morgan Chase, like there's not people that have this kind of influence at a small college like Paul Quinn, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's national. It's not influence that's just local, right? His son plays basketball. He's a big time player. He's going to be a big time player. And so we have conversations about that, navigating the space. It's a flawed space, right? And so you have to be able to find people that you can trust, whether it's a trainer, like we talked about, offline, whether it's a coach, whether it's an organization. But for me, being able to have him as a mentor, right? Not only with things that have to do with the college, but I've got a 6-month-old. It's my first child. I have a daughter. Feeling and hearing and listening to how he navigates being a president and a father is special, right? And that's something that a lot of people don't talk about. Like, this guy's a college president. He was on Fortune 500 most influential people in the world, and he's a big time dad. I mean, it's a blessing to be around people like him and Jermaine and have them as mentors and to be able to watch their daily walk. I mean, he's not just talking about it, he's doing it. I mean, look at this court. Like, this is a vision that he had that nobody else could see. And I mean, you should have seen him last night at the game. I mean, that too. He was smiling ear to ear. He couldn't stop. I mean, why would you? It's like his baby. And to see it all kind of come together after the long suffering that some of the college had, for the fruits of those labor to be coming to pass now. I mean, that's why I keep saying it. It's such a special time to be here at Paul Quinn College and to be able to work with somebody like Michael Sorrell. It's a huge blessing.
Yeah, I love it, man. It's been awesome. We could do this for a whole nother segment. So we'll have to have you back at some point, man. You've done a good job, man. I know we haven't. We're from the same. You represent a city that I'm from, so I've reached out many a times. We've had some good conversations. We haven't had a chance to really connect, but I just appreciate you and all you're doing for the city, all you're doing to give back, and I have so much respect. So I want to make sure we spotlighted you because in your situation and what you're doing there because it deserves attention. And you got this interviewing thing down pretty good, man. You're getting pretty good at this.
Oh man, before you get these opportunities, you practice in the mirror. When nobody wants to interview you, you're in the shower having them like, Lord, please bless me one day with these opportunities. I want to congratulate you, Brian. I saw that you're going to be the new color commentary for the University of Northern Colorado. That's big time. I can't wait to see what you look like with some makeup on.
I need it.
A little blush, you know what I mean? But it's a big deal. I mean, you know how hard this business is.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times what people talk about is all the good times, all the big opportunities, but they don't talk about that time when there was doubt, and they don't talk about that time when they had to push through adversity, and I think that needs to be more normal, right? Talking about how it was hard, talking about the tough times, so that the people that it does reach, the people that do get a chance to listen to our stories, they understand that it's okay to not be who you think you are in that moment. And so congratulations to you. I can't wait to get to Atlanta to visit with my boy. Let's see if we can make this HBCU Classic happen.
Yes.
But I'm just thankful for the opportunity to just spotlight our college. That's what it's about, because it really spotlights our players. They're a special group of underdog kids who, for the first time in their life, guys, this is the first time in a lot of their lives that they are in control of their own story. And it's powerful. It really is. And I remind them of it every day, and I hold them accountable every single day. But when you get a chance to watch these guys, it gives you a sense of joy, because you're like, man, I'm proud of these dudes because they made it from where they're from, right? And to where they are, and now they're in control. Now, that doesn't guarantee that we're going to be successful.
Right.
It guarantees that they have the opportunity to write their own story. And I think that's what it's about here at Paul Quinn. We allow players, we allow people to tell their stories.
Yep, that's what it's about, man. Appreciate that greatly. We're doing the same thing here. We want to let people tell their story and not just talk about the easy stuff, but talk about the hard stuff. So we appreciate you getting on today. And like I said, when I first reached out to you, I was going through an adverse time, and I was thinking about, man, do I need to coach with Drive Nation? Do I need to get over there and be Espinosa's assistant? And figure out, you know what I mean? But
let's do it.
I love what you're doing, man. And I think we had that conversation about Division I and all that different stuff. And I said, man, if you treat where you are like it's everything, all that other stuff will happen later. And I love how much pride and how much ownership you're taking in your role, because you're making it where it's a cool place to be. And I think that's what it's about. So that's all I got, man. Cam, I'll let you close us out.
Man, Coach, I'm going to tell you like this. Your whole interview, if you coach 25% like your interview,
man,
I'm sending you kids.
Yep.
Hey, I appreciate that. I do.
Yeah, like your whole interview, you sold me. Much respect.
Yep.
Good luck this season. Me personally, man, you're a shining star in this business, man. So keep doing what you're doing, man. I respect it.
Yep.
I appreciate that. I do. There's not a lot of Hispanic, Latinos coaching.
Yep.
And so you have to be the best version of yourself at all times.
Yep.
And I'll share this with you guys real quick. I don't want to overstay my welcome. But getting the opportunity to coach under Eduardo Nájera, who was the first-born Mexican player to be drafted, it was a big deal, right? Like, to the common fan, maybe to the Sooner fans, like, they love Eddie, and he's one of the best players to play at Oklahoma. But to the normal fan, Eddie was a role player. Eddie, was on some Dallas Maverick teams that were good. He played on a really good Denver Nuggets team, right? But to me and in my community, he's a star, right? He's a legend. He's the first. He's a trailblazer. And I learned from him a long time ago that sometimes going through this business, you're going to be severely undervalued, right? People are going to judge you. Like I used to have, I had a taper fade with an edge up. It was clean. I'm telling you, it was clean. I was lined up, Coach. It was clean. He told me, he said, listen, you didn't play in the NBA. You need to shave. You need to grow your hair out, comb it over to the side. I had a long, long beard. I just cut it down. My wife is proud of me. This is as long as it's ever going to be. But Eddie was one of those guys. He's like, you got to be professional because there's like 5 of us. You know, we don't have time for you to make a mistake, because if you make a mistake, you're killing the next 30 guys behind you. And I never thought about it that way. I'm like, Coach, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I'm trying to figure this out just like everybody else. And he's like, it doesn't matter. Like, you don't have a choice. And that was big. That was special. You know, so I think for me, the opportunity to be able to represent these guys, right, and represent this college and invest in them the way that my mentor and head coach invested in me, it changed the trajectory of my life. And if I can do that for one kid, it's all been worth it. It really has. My mentor played with Bill Self at Oklahoma State, and he was talking to me about how everybody loves Bill, and if he wouldn't have gone and played overseas for 15 years, you know, maybe he'd be at Kansas, and maybe it would be him. And he was like in his feelings a little bit one day. And Bill and John Calipari at the time had came to do a camp at Dallas Christian College, this little bitty college in Farmers Branch, Texas, right? And I told Coach, I said, Coach, his kingdom is on earth, right? Like, he has all this love and praise. He's a great coach, great guy. I mean, I'm not saying anything bad about him, right? Bill Self is a big-time coach. I said, but Coach, your kingdom is not here. It's waiting on you up there.
Amen.
So what are you complaining about? I mean, that dude almost cried that day, and I hold him to this day. I'm like, we're not worried about this. Like, you're coaching, your head coach, you won championships. Like, you know, you're doing it the right way. And so I think learning from those 2 guys, Eddie and Coach Williams, man, it's been a blessing, and it keeps me, you know, it keeps the perspective there, right? It's a huge responsibility, and I'm responsible to my guys, to my family. Obviously, I'm a man of faith. But we're doing some special things here. I can't wait for you guys to come to the campus, to check it out. Please watch us on ESPN Plus. We got Southeast Louisiana on the 14th. But what a great time to be at Paul Quinn. What a great time to be in the new mecca of basketball, Dallas, Texas. It's just really, really special. So I appreciate you guys a lot.
Yeah, thanks, man. Shout out to Coach Charles Williams. He's a friend of mine and been great to me as well, so I got to give him his shout out. But yeah, thanks so much, man. Great luck this season. Thanks for coming on, and we enjoyed it, man. This was gold today, so we look forward to having you back on at some point in time in the near future, man.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys.
And we'll be rooting for you. You know that.
Let's go. Go Tigers.
All right, man. Awesome stuff there, man. Awesome stuff. I'll let yeah, that's home. Shout out to the new court, of course, but there's so much more that's going on there than just the court. So that's why we wanted to have Coach on today. I think anybody who watches this interview or listens to this interview can see Paul Quinn College has some major things going on, and they're on the uptick, and I'm excited for them to have a chance to get that spotlight. So we'll let Cam Dailey close it out as we like to do, and then we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, hey, another great interview with another great HBCU coach. I was blown away. Like, I could sit and listen to him talk forever because he's great at what he does. Almost like, you know, when I played for Ben Jobe, man, you could sit and listen to Jobe tell stories for years, and, you know, we'd be stretched and then had to stretch again after he finished telling stories. Like we always say, hey, give an HBCU a chance, right? Whether you're playing or not, give an HBCU a chance. Like we say, it's always not about the name on the front of the jersey. It's always about your experience. So, B, thank you again for doing this. HBCU Spotlight is wonderful.
Yeah, we love it. We're going to keep spotlighting all year long. You know where to find us. YouTube will be on Apple and Spotify as well. But, yeah, we just look forward to continue to do it and continue to spotlight HBCUs, man. So, Cam, appreciate you.
Yes,
Have
sir.
a great one. We'll be back soon.
Respect.